Sorry with that, you guys. I had to take that phone call. So I'm about to chop these three up here. And I asked the person I'm gonna call them back. So hopefully I don't get cut off here again. Because what I'm trying to say here, you guys, is real simple. There's a lot of injustice that continues to happen to the black family here in America. Continues to happen because we don't have the economic ability to fight back. Some of us are aware of how the legal system works. And if you've ever been into a courtroom, the one thing you will notice in that courtroom is the majority of people who are in the seats who are defendants are not white. They're not Asian. Okay, and those are the two dominant economic cultures in America right now. Okay, the recent census that was taken shows it. That Asians make the most money. The average Asian household makes the most money here in America, with the average white household right behind it. You don't see them in the courtroom having to defend themselves because the police and the legal system, they already know they're not going to win the majority of those battles. So they don't even attempt to lock them up. They don't charge them with as many crimes as those of us who are of color get charged with, primarily because the system is designed to get convictions. See, every single person who goes to jail is worth money. And you and I have to understand that there are some things happening in our society still, that when slavery went away, they figured out another way to enslave black people. And those of you who don't have money, see, if you happen to see a person who is white or Asian in the courtroom, what you'll typically find is they come from one of those families that are average. They come from one of those families that don't have money. And so even though what we're sort of focusing on with the black folder is economic empowerment for black people, if you're white, if you're Asian, and you don't happen to have the same type of money as others in your race have, we're talking about economic empowerment for you as well. We're talking about economic empowerment for everybody who cannot afford to fight some of the things that happen in our society. And when we talk about joblessness is derived specifically from the lack of finances and the lack of resources. If you and I were making the kind of money we wanted to really make, if we were making the type of money that some of these millionaires and billionaires are making, would we treat our money differently? Would we invest in communities differently? Would we create jobs, more jobs than what these other corporations are taking away and shipping overseas? See, they're able to take these jobs and ship them overseas because they can, you guys. And so when we get into this black folder and this conversation I was talking about that I got involved with earlier in the week, it was a good conversation. Apparently there were some brothers who were talking about group group economics, us pooling our resources together. And this is an awesome conversation to have. However, there's a lot of dysfunction within the black community. And so as we embark on trying to fix the economic challenges that we face still to this day, we find ourselves in a position where we as black people have to also deal with some of the mental dysfunction. And so what I'm talking about here is this competition with one another. There aren't enough of us in America to be competing against one another. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop this on you guys. I'm going to move forward. When I look at the civil rights movement originally, yes, many of us were together then, but we were fractured even then. See, I think about two of the most powerful leaders from that time, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. When we think about these two individuals, we understand that they had two different approaches, but they had the same goal. Martin Luther King's goal to the emancipation of black people, the full emancipation and the full equality, the equal status, was a non-violent approach. Whereas Malcolm X's approach was, we not going to start none. but we gonna finish it. If you come in my house with guns and starting mess and being violent, I'm going to protect myself and my family. Okay? And so you guys, that's sort of what I mean there, that those are two different approaches to the same goal. However, what often would happen, and some of you who tracked history and saw it, or some of you who actually there, some of what happened is they end up getting pitted against each other. So now you have the great Dr. Martin Luther King getting pitted against the great Malcolm X, and sort of saying, well, I don't like your approach and I don't like your approach, right? And even we can go a little bit further and say the Black Panther Party even came out of that same debate on what's better. Should we use a non-violent approach, or should we be a little more militant and a little bit stronger? And and that's an example of the mental dysfunction in the Black community, right? If you both have the same goal, it doesn't matter how we get into it. If we have a non-violent faction and we have a more militant faction, in my opinion, two is better than one. We have two separate ways to get the same thing done, and there's no need to argue about which way is better, because the goal is the goal. So when we talk about economic empowerment, you know, I think back to a panel. You know, Tavis Smiley does these yearly State of the Black Family. You know, I don't know if he's still doing them, but I still think back to one where he had Magic Johnson on the panel. And Magic Johnson said the problem in the Black community is we have too many chiefs and not enough Indians. We have too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Too many of us want to tell everybody else what to do, and not enough of us want to carry out orders. See, some of us need to be realistic about where we are. Not all of us are chiefs. Okay? Some of y'all need to get on your Indian. Some of y'all need to find a cause, find a team, find a group that's already moving, that already has the resources that you don't have, and bring what you have to that. Okay? Now, as far as the Chiefs go, Chiefs gotta stop arguing. See, what transpired in that conversation is, I'm a chief. I'm gonna be honest with you. But at times I get my Indian on as well. Right? See, for me personally, it's about knowing the time and place and when to play your role. So sometimes I'm a chief when it comes to Top Networkers Group. When it comes to one MLM system, I'm a chief. If I'm joining somebody else's team, somebody else's movement, I'm an Indian. I go along with the leadership, and I fall in line, and I look for what I can add to what is already in place. Now, sometimes chiefs meet up, and this is what happened in this conversation on Black empowerment. And one of my business partners put forth the idea of using our $10 social network as a method to help unify the Black community, build a network, and fund ourselves as we go along. Another brother in that conversation is anti-MLM, has his own idea about how we should be creating, this economic structure, and this is where the debate started. Now, in my opinion, this other brother is a little lost. Okay? Now, again, we have a lot of mental dysfunction in our community, and so some of our brothers get lost from time to time. My hope is that he can someday see the light and come back into the fold where we need him at. Rather than lifting up my business partner and saying, okay, that sounds like a good idea, not for me and some of my people, but good luck with that, brother. I hope that works out for you. Rather than encouraging the brother, he starts shooting him down. Tell him that's not going to work. This ain't going to work. MLMs ain't sustainable. A social network ain't what people going to pay for. Just all this negativism. And there's a lot of negativism in the Black community, you guys. When opportunity is brought to us, because we've been beat down so much and we've been, led astray so much, we've been lied to so much, that we are a very cynical people. And so it is important for those of us who are chiefs, who are real leaders, that when we spot other other black people who are moving in a positive direction, that we encourage them, that we lift them up, especially if it's the same goal. We don't all have to do the same things to get to the same goal, you guys. If the goal is the same, we need to encourage every single leader, because not everybody's going to go with your plan neither. Right? Let's say, and I'll just put this plan out there. His plan is to collect funds from black people to create a membership site where people are funding their organization, and then they're going to decide where they're going to put that money. Right? There's nothing wrong with that, but not every black person is going to go for that plan. So how productive is it for me to shoot down his plan while he shoots down my plan? How does that help our community? How does that help us get to our goal? And it just reminded me of the nonsense that we face within the MLM industry that I speak about all the time, especially black leaders in MLM. We get caught up in whose company we in. It's just as bad as getting caught up in whose plantation we're on. Oh, I'm from the Johnson farm. Oh, I'm from the Davis farm. Oh, y'all Johnsons and Davises ain't got it like we got it over here on the King farm. And we don't even own the farm. So I want you guys to really, really think about what I'm saying here. I don't care what MLM company you're in. We have figured out how we can all work together. And you can come on board and you can work with us, but just make sure that you're not coming on board shooting down stuff, because it's not your place. It's not your place. And it does not benefit the black race for us to be infighting over the smallest things, like whose company we're in. That doesn't matter, you guys. Network marketing, as we move forward, is about whose network you're in, whose organization you're a part of. Does that make sense, you guys? Thanks for watching. I got some phone calls to make and some things to do, but I hope you guys enjoy the end of 2013. Ended strong, ended on a good note, and let's get ready for a successful and prosperous 2014. Thanks for watching Top Networkers Group.